Good evening and welcome to the Fredonia Central School District Board of Education meeting for Tuesday, June 22nd, 2021. If everyone would please join me by standing and pledging allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, so we start every meeting, and we've got people in attendance here, so you can't attend one of our board meetings without a public comment, so everybody's got to speak, okay? So, and take your time and, take turns, don't rush to the microphone. But if there is anybody who would like to speak tonight on anything pertaining to our agenda, you are welcome to speak. We ask that you give your name and address and keep your comments to 5 minutes or less per individual or group. Is there anybody who would like to address the board tonight? No? Just people who want to see a board meeting. We like that. Good. Good. There's a lot of good things that go on here from the other board members, not here. So we have a proposed consent agenda, and the adoption of the consent agenda upon a motion and a second, plus an affirmative vote by members present, approves each and every item so designated. However, prior to the adoption of the consent agenda, any board member may remove any item from the consent agenda. This item will then come up for discussion as part of the regular agenda. So, we have the proposed agenda, and I'm looking for a motion from our board, and then once it's actually, before I do that, we have the proposed agenda. What I'm proposing is moving 2 items to the front. Number 4, number 4, we have retiree recognition, and then we have item number 7A, 1 through 7. We have several tenure candidates, plus B1 is B1, and we've got another one too, don't we? A new hiring. So we would like to just move those up to the front and then continue on with the rest of the agenda. So can we get a motion so we can get it on the floor? All right, Ms. Powell-Fortin and Ms. Gullo. Anyone like to bring anything forward? You're all good?
I just wanted to make one note of a correction. So on page 8, item D3, the list of summer cleaners, we've indicated that some of these are substitutes. That's incorrect. All of these on the list, minus Patty Ambrose, are summer cleaners. Patty is only in the tech department. So I will make that change in the minutes, but I wanted to make that known. Thank you.
Okay. So again, there are no substitutes, and Patty Ambrose is only in the technology. She is not a cleaner. Okay? We all good? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Great. So we have the agenda, and right off the bat we have some retirees who, quite a few. And Mr. Paskey and Ms. Troutman, Mr. Drollinger, Ms. Farrell, and I guess Michelle is here. Michelle is here. Yep, there she is. You didn't speak earlier. Okay. Well, we've got some presentations of some of our fine retirees who will be missing. Who wants to go first? Okay. Darren,
From my building.
you don't?
Although I do have one that's shared, so I would like to talk a little bit about Linda Smith, who is, she teaches 2 classes in the high school, 3 in the middle school, and honestly, Mrs. Smith, there was never a day that she didn't come to school with a smile on her face, have a smile on her face the entire day she was here, laughing and in a great mood, and she left exactly the same way every single day. She brightened the room when she walked in. The students loved her classes and loved her. I'm really sad to see her go. She was what we would consider one of our best assets because she made relationships with kids.
And so I'll just add to that, you know, I wrote down sweet. Well, that was the first thing that came to my mind. She's such a sweet lady. She treats the kids with such loving care. And the kids really love being in her room. She's supportive and she's very student-centered. And we are very much going to miss her.
Okay. So, Ms. Troutman, if you would just continue on with your retirees?
Sure. Mary Bradford left us mid-year in January. And, you know, Mary was great. I always laugh. She kept Vince in line and kind of kept him moving forward, and they were a great team. She really was sorely missed when she left. She was great with the kids. She was an instructional leader. Even when she wasn't the instructional leader, she stepped up and would come to our meetings. She was a team player, and we truly have missed her not being here. And let's see, Cara Christina. Cara really was dedicated to her students. We saw this even more during COVID. She reached out to the kids, you know, gave them her cell phone number and said, if you need somebody, I'm here for you. And so her dedication did not go unnoticed, and we will definitely miss her next year.
Okay.
I think that's all I have.
Mr. Drawlinger.
Yep, I have a few retirees as well, and we'd like to honor them tonight. So our first one from the elementary school is Martha Brown. She retired mid-year. She was a teaching assistant in the media center, and she had a unique role where she saw over 400 kids every week. They rifled through her classroom, and her objective was to get kids excited about reading, and that was something that she accomplished. Kids liked going to the library because of her presence and the excitement that she built for building books. So she actually came back, because like I said, she retired in January, but she came back last week for a little luncheon, and it was really good to see her again. She's enjoying retirement as it is right now. And we also have Gloria Hayes, and this is our district nurse who's retiring this year, and she has been outstanding this year. I think we all know that the challenges that we were faced this year couldn't have been met without the helpful hand of Gloria and her expertise. She has been in the district about 10 years, and I worked with her over the past 2 years, and her and I have grown very close this year. She was available weekends, nights, and she was somebody that I trusted very much, and I'll miss her in the office as well. And she's excited to retire with her family and things like that. We also have Holly Lamparelli retiring, and she's retiring from a reading teacher position. You might not, if you've been in the elementary building, you'd probably notice her classroom was stuffed with books, thousands of them. And she did a great job working with kids in small groups every day, helping them to learn to read. And I think there's no better accomplishment than having taught thousands of kids how to read. So that's pretty cool. So she's got that under her belt. She's excited to retire with her family and stay in the area as well. And then our last retiree from the elementary school is Roberta Loveland, and she's retiring from an aide position. And she was helpful, and I know her just over the time of 1 year. And in her time in the building, she helped with individual kids working one-on-one. And I think that takes a lot of patience and care, and that's something that Roberta had, and we'll miss her in the elementary school as well. But those 4 are our retirees.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Drawlinger. Ms. Piper.
I'd like to speak to Kathy Bankash,
Yes.
who retired from Wheelock, and actually just came back last week and started substituting with us. And I can't tell you the number of hugs and laughter that she brought with her, and we're glad to have her back in that capacity. Kathy was just a wonderful human being, kind, great with kids, great with adults, and so she's retired, but she's back substituting, so we're glad to have her. I also want to touch base on Carol Bone. She works in the cafeteria, but Carol also worked for the elementary school for many, many years. And Carol was one of those cafeteria workers that everybody knew. She knew everybody. She knew the kids by name. She made it a point to really get in touch with the kids and show how much she cared about them. And so I just want to put a shout out to Carol as well. We're going to miss her.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Piper.
Sure.
Ms. Farrow.
You know, I have worked sort of indirectly and some direct with everybody on this list. So I'm not going to say something about everyone because I think my colleagues have already shared some wonderful information. But, you know, some of these folks are well-known, some of them are unsung heroes, and I will talk a little bit about Walt Farrar because nobody has talked about him yet. But Walt has cleaned my office and my hallway for as many years back as I can remember, and he is the last person I see every day when I leave here, and we always have a little chat. And I will miss him greatly, and he's done wonderful work, so I appreciate his time here.
Yeah, we'll miss them all, and they've touched a lot of students, a lot of our professionals. Ms. Greenow.
I think I'm on the agenda, yes?
Yes,
part?
you're live.
I want to say that the Fredonia Teachers Association first wants to extend our gratitude and congratulations to the support services staff members who are retiring. We know they've worked so diligently to keep us safe these last 18 months. So we wish them happy, healthy retirements, of course. As far as our retiring teachers, Cara Christina is a warrior. She's shown what perseverance truly is. She's a Fredonia graduate, and she has the qualities that we wish to instill in all our Fredonia grads: communicative, intelligent, passionate, and civic-minded. And while most teachers might swap heels for flip-flops, I know she will continue rocking the high-heeled shoes well into her retirement. So I congratulate Cara on a splendid career. Holly Lamparelli is a devoted, patient, and wise teacher. As a response to intervention provider, she's worked so diligently with the students who struggle most with reading. She's a strategic specialist whose knowledge and compassion will be missed. Congratulate Holly. She's made such a difference for so many children. And Linda Smith, our home and careers teacher, is perhaps the warmest, friendliest person on campus. I always hope she's at a faculty luncheon or gathering because she's just so lovely a person. She masterfully teaches those skills that I often hear adults say students need before they graduate, like how to cook a meal, do basic sewing, and find a job. So I congratulate Linda, and she now has no more snowy mountain commutes.
Yeah, I also just want to say from the superintendent perspective is, you know, I bring a unique perspective that I've only been here since January, but I'm a former social studies teacher, so very in tune with history, and it's been great to hear about all of the names from the past that come up in just general conversations about people here at Fredonia. And I see it as an honor to have worked with these people, although only for a short period of time. But as these names come up moving forward, I will be able to say that we did work together and have a point of reference for those conversations that come up down the road. And you know, certainly we appreciate everything that's been done, all the hard work, all the dedication to the district on behalf of everybody on our list tonight. And again, I'm honored to have worked with this group.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
I also just briefly wanted to mention that one of the traditions that we are keeping up is that each year we donate books on behalf of each retiree to become part of the collection of our libraries. And when we start making this list, we contact our retirees and we ask whether there's a specific topic they would like us to get a book on. So some of our retirees did kind of handpick their books, and some let Mrs. Gruber kind of use her expertise as to what our collection needs. And so We will be donating this great stack of books to our collections, and each book will have a plaque inside with the information about the retiree and the dedication. So congratulations to all our retirees.
Great, thank you. Nothing better than a book to honor a retiring teacher or staff. Thank you. Great. Next on our agenda, we have the approval for recommendations for tenure personnel. We've got 4 of our tenure candidates in attendance, well, 3 in attendance, 1 by Zoom. And we're going to start out with Laura Haas, and I believe that Ms. Piper?
She's at the elementary school, so.
Okay,
she's
I'm sorry.
In the tenure area of an elementary general ed teacher, so she's a great person, and I think that the board needs to know how important it is for a principal to recommend tenure, and Laura is somebody who I will stand behind, as she's someone that I trust. She's skilled, knowledgeable, and she has the desire and ability to continue growing. And that's what makes her a very special person to have in the elementary building. She did apologize she couldn't be here tonight for childcare reasons and things like that, but she was excited to see her name in print, and she's excited to continue growing in her role as a general ed teacher in the elementary building.
Great, thank you. And then next we have Ryan Shanahan. Mr. Paskey.
Hi, Mr. Shanahan. Mr. Shanahan is our choral director, and if you've been to any of our concerts since he has been here, you will have noticed the quality of the sound that you are hearing has just become incredible. He is a master in his craft. He has brought a very high level of instruction to his chorus and has introduced big buddies to the chorus, where he's pairing up older members with younger members down in the lower grades. I can't say enough about what he has brought back to our district. For those of you that have been around for a while, you may remember Jack Sternisha as one of the premier choral directors in the region, not just even in our state, in the Northeast region. And when I see what Ryan is doing in the classroom and accomplishing with his choral groups, I think of him as a young Jack Sternisha that will be bringing all the accolades that Jack brought to our school. And he's just so student-centered and so focused on quality and relationships. So congratulations, Ryan, as we recommend you for tenure. You have my full support.
Great. Thank you. So next, Mr. Paskey, if you would continue on with Ms. Krakowiak.
Yes, Amanda Krakowiak actually was hired when I took the position as high school principal, and Mrs. Krakowiak was someone who helped me to enter this position with confidence that we were replacing a member of our math department with someone that was a high-quality teacher. She already had 10 years of experience at Southwestern, and she came to us with a background knowing the Fredonia schools, and she was a Fredonia graduate. She knew our math department very well and the way that we teach, and she took over the AP Calculus program. She has done an incredible job. She always shoots for 100% of her students to get a 5 on that exam, and she's very, very close to meeting that goal every single year. The results speak for themselves. So she has incredible qualities for setting high standards for kids and building relationships to help support the kids to meet those high expectations. So another teacher for the high school that I recommend wholeheartedly. If I may, she couldn't be here tonight, so she did prepare a very short statement that she asked me to read, if that's all right.
Sure.
Okay. She says, I am beyond grateful for the opportunity to work here at Fredonia High School. As a graduate of FHS, I feel that I received a high-quality education. I am honored to be able to give back to the school and the community that provided me with a fantastic educational experience. I will continue to work my hardest to uphold the tradition of excellence here at Fredonia. Then there was some really small writing here that said, if you're handing out cake or any desserts, Mr. Cashby will gladly take them for me.
A little editorializing.
I think that's what that said.
No cake tonight. Great. It's good to have her on board. Next, we're going to continue on, Mr. Paskey and Ms. Troutman, on Ms. Privet.
So Melissa has such a positive, caring attitude. She is one of the most reflective teachers that I've ever been able to work with. She creates an active learning environment where the kids are actively engaged in their learning. She builds positive relationships with her kids. Often as kids go on to 8th grade, you can find them still in her room interacting with her because of the strong relationships she builds. And one of the things that, to me is most impactful is she creates readers. Many times our kids don't have a love of reading, but she's got magical powers, and I don't know how she does it, but she creates readers, and we are so fortunate to have her.
Great, thank you. Next we have Mr. Paskey and Ms. Troutman on Ms. Krasinski.
Sarah Korzaneski. So Sarah, I don't think this is me, I don't think I saw her, but Sarah also has an absolutely amazing positive attitude. She's a team player. She has stepped up for next year. She's going to be the 8th grade team instructional leader. She wants to help with the mentor program. So she's really coming into being a leader in our building. Her technology skills are amazing, and you can see that every time you walk into the classroom. And she really is a go-to teacher for our kids. She shared a student letter with me just recently about how the kids feel like if they have a problem, she is someone that they feel comfortable going to with that problem. So we're very happy to have her in our Spanish department. She came from our elementary here and took a dive into something new, and we can't be more pleased with her. So congratulations to her.
Great. Thank you. Next, we have, again, Ms. Troutman, Laura Ellis.
I'll talk about Laura.
Okay.
So it's a pleasure to speak about Laura. She's here with her family. Laura came to Fredonia with several years of experience and expertise. She took the time to learn and appreciate the culture here and the infrastructure of our district, and then she made her own mark with her brand of positivity, productivity, and professionalism. Laura works with our primary and elementary grades. She manages multiple responsibilities, building level teams, systems, and referrals. She has tenacity and grit like none I've ever seen before in managing time and organizing information with a really keen eye for detail. She has a personal drive to be thorough and thoughtful. And she stresses the importance of data-driven decision-making, but never sets aside her mindfulness in regards to the humanness of our work. So I'm a former school psychologist myself, and I find Laura just amazing as an administrator and her direct supervisor. I admire her confident and kind style, and it's truly an honor to recommend her tenure appointment.
Next, we have Rihanna Kelly.
I will speak about Rihanna as well, who is also here with her husband. So it's an honor to speak about Rihanna. She has proven over her probationary period to be a very highly effective professional who I found to be profoundly committed to her position and the students, parents, and colleagues that she works with. You know, in special education, I have a unique vantage point on teachers because I see them not only in action in their classrooms, but also at a table in meetings of the Committee on Special Ed. Rihanna has a knack for being concise yet detailed. She's always prepared. She makes data-driven decisions. She's timely. And probably most importantly, she's a teacher who's in touch with her students in a way that shows genuine interest and connection with them. She has a sense of humor. She has a likability, and that serves her really well in the classroom. Rihanna's a team player in every respect. She's highly respected by her colleagues. She's the kind of person and professional that other people want to be around and work closely with, and it's my pleasure to recommend her tenure appointment as well.
Michelle, I was told that you may have some comments also.
Thank you, yes. I want to remind the board that two of our tenure candidates took huge risks by starting over in new tenure areas. That's Gloria Hayes and Sarah Korzeniewski. And they did that so they could pursue their true passions in education. I respect that so much. They both become very involved in any opportunities for district and building level decision making, and their insights have been very valuable. The high school gained 3 hardworking and talented teachers. You may remember that I still assert Amanda Krakowiak had tenure in 2019, but I'm so glad that you are recognizing her tonight. And Rihanna Kelly and Ryan Shanahan, each of these 3 have become valuable partners in their respective departments. Laura Els is the consummate professional. She manages a large caseload with a smile, and as a school psychologist, she's proven herself a great asset to Wheelock and the elementary students and staff. Melissa Previtt, my colleague at the middle school, she helps students find delight in reading and writing, and like Mrs. Troutman said, she has a magic touch for making readers, lifelong readers out of middle schoolers, which is no easy feat. She cares deeply for each individual in her classroom and helps them become their best. These professionals are moving Fredonia forward in such positive ways. I am proud to call them my colleagues, and I congratulate each of these candidates, and I congratulate the district for confirming these fine people as tenured faculty.
Great, thank you very much.
I also want to just add again from the superintendent perspective, as an administrative team and the board, I just want people to know that we take the granting of tenure very seriously. It is really, a district's long-term commitment to a group of employees. And in our minds, tenure isn't so much given or awarded, it's earned. And from my perspective, again, since January, I feel there's a couple things that really connect all of these people together. And one of them is the relationships and connections they have with both our students and adults. I think that's clear when you see their work or when you see them or observe them in the school setting. And I think the other pieces are just that hard work and dedication and commitment, not only to Fredonia schools, but just to young people in general. And I think that's a common theme when I see these names here tonight. And, that is not lost on us. The work and the effort that's put in, not only during the school day, but behind the scenes and beyond school hours. And it's clear that everybody is going the extra mile for our students. So. Again, it's been great to get to know each one of you over the course of this school year, and I know from our admin team and the board, we're very proud to have you on board as tenured teachers in our district moving forward. So, congrats and well done.
Thank you, Mr. Ziliaks, because lost in this whole thing, and it's something that I didn't mention, and I really need to. This was presented to the board 2 weeks ago to bring these teachers forward for tenure. And for us, it seemed like, we wanted to get some input from our administrators and get some feedback, because we do take this seriously, and tenure is a big deal, and it's not something that we wanted to just hand out without having input from these administrators. So we slowed the process down, and we kind of apologize for for delaying it 2 weeks, but the board feels very, very strongly about getting the feedback and making sure that tenure is a very important thing, and that we are granting this for a reason, and it's not just because somebody's, one person has recommended it to the board, but this is something that we feel very strongly about and we can all get on board with. So this is important, and we thank everybody for their patience in this. So with that, I would take a motion to approve the tenure recommendations for the previously mentioned individuals.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Forster. In a second. Mr. Johnston, you're a little late there. Any questions or comments? With that, all those in favor of granting tenure to these individuals, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Great. Congratulations again. Great. Thank you, everyone. So, next we go back to item number 5. Okay. Item number 5, we have the approved, well, okay, before we go on to 5, I will just say, at this point in the meeting, anyone who is here for that tenure for the retirees, it's okay if you leave. We understand. We will take recorded messages at the end for any comments that anybody has for public session. Okay? But you don't have to stick around for the rest of the meeting. Okay? But thank you very much.
Hi, thank you. Congratulations.
So we have the minutes from our regular meeting of June 8th. Can I have a motion to bring that forward, please?
So moved.
And that's Ms. Gullo, and a second?
Second.
Ms. Powell Fortner. Any questions, comments, corrections? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Great. Next, we have the budget status report for May 2021. Mr. Forbes?
Really not going to make many comments on this report. It's been kind of the same thing every meeting, that we're tracking utilities, we're tracking salaries, that kind of thing. I did want to point out at the end of the report that if you look at the year-to-date total expenditures, it's $23 million, and that's obviously at that point significantly lower than what we would have budgeted. But you do have to remember that in May we have a number of large expenses. Our debt service payments are in May. We have 2 final BOCES bills. We have another health insurance bill, and we also have the final teacher's pay, which in and of itself is a sizable amount of money. So $23 million at the end of May is about where we would expect to be, and it should end up in the area that we've been projecting, which is roughly $29.5 million thereabouts.
Okay. Any questions on that? Everybody's had a chance to review that? Okay. And the revenue status report for May.
So, we again have the 3 revenue status reports. On the one that I've been doing kind of as an extra, it says Marion Central School Revenue Reports, a single page. At last meeting, there had been a request to add a column of anticipated fiscal revenue. So on this report, you have the over or under budget column, which is the second from the right-hand side, and then I went through and kind of projected what we were still expected to receive through the month of June, and then the receivables into the summer. So that's about $2.5 million in June.
So from that, Mr. Forbes, you're projecting that we're going to be about $500,000 short on revenues?
No, because you have to factor in the revenue and fund balance.
Okay.
We're actually going to be
I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yes.
probably, right now we're tracking about $499 below budget, and that is expected. That was part of the transportation aid that we knew would get adjusted for this year.
Yeah, and with the lottery money, the unanticipated lottery, was it lottery money?
No, basic formula.
Okay, but it was unanticipated, and I thought with all that, I thought we should be above budget, but yes, thank you for that. Any questions from the rest of the board? We're all good? Okay. Then the treasurer's report for May.
No comment on there, everything balanced, everything in good shape there, so.
Okay. Any questions on that? All good? Okay. So if I could have a motion to approve the treasurer's report? Mr. Forrester. And a second?
Second?
Mr. Johnston. No questions. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you. We have an award bid for trash removal for the 21-22 school year. Can I have a motion to bring that to the floor for discussion?
So,
Ms. Gullo, and a second?
second.
Ms. Powell-Fortner. Okay, so any questions on that?
Is that typically average?
Actually, we've had Best Way container for a number of years. Mr. Schuster unfortunately passed away for the last year, and Casella bought out the company. So we had anticipated, based upon going back years ago when Casella was BFI, that there'd be an increase in rate, and had budgeted for such. It unfortunately came in a little bit higher than even that. I did check with a couple of my peers, and they're finding a similar situation as people aren't able to use Best Way. We did put it out to the other 4 companies listed, as well as a public advertisement, and we only got the one bid.
Mr. Ford, why, I'm just curious, we have no other bids, is that also typical or unusual that no one else would even bid on our business?
Typically, we would have no more than 2 trash. It was not every year that Casella, or whatever their company name was in the past, and Brad, and then he got bought out for a while, so then we were with him for a while, and he started back up, so it's generally only been 1 or 2 companies.
And it's not worth rebidding at this point, we wouldn't expect that we would get anyone else?
Well, I mean, there's two things you can look at. You look at a rebid, but typically, in a situation such as this, where you're bidding against yourself, you might bid even higher.
Right.
Or you could look at something, possibly like as a month-to-month kind of thing, but I think at the end of the day, you're probably gonna be higher than the bid on that as well.
Okay, thank you.
And the, what we paid for this same service a year ago, this past year was?
About 14,000.
Yeah, so yes, it has gone up. Without any other questions or comments, all those in favor of accepting the bid, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Next, we have a bid for gas and diesel. Can I have a motion to bring that to the floor, please? Mr. Johnston, and a second?
Second.
Ms. Gullo. Any questions on that? And that is higher, which we would expect with prices significantly higher.
Last year we were in the $1.30 range, $1.40 range. So, we've seen it at the pump ourselves. And I should comment too that this is fuel for transportation, not for district vehicles. That we still do through a cooperative bid with the village of Vermont.
Just a thought that ran through my head. It's kind of a bad time of the year to put on gas because, as people start moving and prices go up and does it really matter, you think, or do we just take the average?
We could do it earlier with my pricing. I don't know how that would be. Our bid specs call for a locked-in rate based upon the Warren, Pennsylvania fuel conglomerate.
Okay.
And we use the day in May for that. And because it's a fiscal year bid, we couldn't go too far ahead because they wouldn't want to lock in January for July the following June. So.
Sure.
My guess is that essentially all the companies bidding, my guess, is that they would use futures contracts to protect themselves from the increase. So that's going to take away some of that risk for them, and they understand that it's a year bid. So it's really not where in the cycle it is that they would understand that. So, any other questions without anything? Those in favor of accepting the gas diesel bid signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. So then we have a bid for art supplies for the 21-22 school year. Can I have a motion to bring that to the floor?
So,
Ms. Gullo? And a second?
second.
Ms. Powell, Fortner. Any questions on that? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Next, we have the approval of maintenance service agreement, the renewal. Can I have a motion to bring that to the floor, please, with Johnson Controls?
So moved.
Ms. Powell Fortner. And a second?
Second.
Mr. Johnston, thank you. Any questions on that?
Just maintain the fire alarm?
Fire alarms, they come in and do an annual inspection of the whole system, replace smoke heads that are needed and so on.
I believe, Mr. Court, this is maintained relatively stable from last year.
Same rate.
Great. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much. Next, we have summer transportation contracts. Can I have a motion to bring that to the floor, please?
Mr. Aldrich, if we could,
Whoop.
F1, which is the piggybacking, we had a change for today, so I would like to just withdraw that, or table it, or whatever the proper procedure would be.
So F, we will be removing this.
F1, yes.
F1, okay. Do we have to do anything on that?
I would say I should have a motion to table,
Okay,
motion and
okay.
second.
And are we going to be bringing this back as a different,
You'll be bringing it back in a different format. There won't be
Okay.
piggybacking involved, at least at this point. I'm still working on that part, but it won't be
Okay.
this motion.
no, do we need to bring it to the floor before we table it?
So if it's going to be different when it comes back, I would say bring it to the floor and then make a motion to strike it from the agenda.
Okay. So we're going to take a motion to table it, to strike it. To bring it to the floor, then strike it.
I think that's it.
We're removing it and we need two people to say yes, we can remove it.
Okay, so we're going to bring this to the floor and then vote to strike it. So if I can have a motion to move it to the floor, please.
So moved.
Ms. Gullo, and a second. Ms. Powell Fortner. Now, can I have a motion to strike this? Mr. Forrester, and a second. Mr. Johnston, okay. So, all those in favor of striking this signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That is stricken. Okay, so we have a transportation contract extension with First Student. Can I have a motion to bring that to the floor, please? Which is F2, Mr. Johnston. And a second,
Second.
Ms. Gullo. Any questions on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? Thank you. Now, we have the discussion regarding our 21-22 tuition rates, which we tabled at the last meeting. If I could have a motion to bring that back to the floor.
So moved.
Ms. Gullo. And a second. Mr. Forrester. Okay, so it is now on the floor for discussion. Okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to mention real quick, so we had a preliminary discussion at our last meeting and, got some input and had a variety of perspectives around the table. I just want people to know that since that time, we've done some analysis in comparison to other school districts in the area in terms of what they charge tuition, whether or not they charge tuition for employees, sons and daughters, or not. What those numbers look like, and it really tried to just reflect overall on where we stand in comparison to those school districts and what would make sense for us moving forward. So I don't want anyone to get the impression that we are not willing to take a look at what's happening around us and use that to make the best decisions that we can or feel we need to as a board. In my mind, there was a couple different thoughts around the table. One idea from last meeting is that our overall budget this year increased about 2%, 2.05 to be exact, and a increase in the tuition of that amount would make sense in some ways, and there was also some discussion about it possibly being more than that. So I think that sort of summarizes where we've been, and I will open it up to the board for any additional comments at this time.
I think my main question was just what are the pros and cons to raising the tuition? What are we trying to do with it? Is there a reason why we want to keep it as low as it is?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things that I would mention, and I'm open to anybody else sharing is, sometimes for the people who are currently in the district, under a certain parameter, and a certain understanding, although it's a year-to-year agreement, I think people understand that, but it could feel a certain degree of unfairness if it was dramatically increased and maybe some, negativity as a result of that. I also think that, as we look to other districts, there are some districts that put their tuition extremely high, maybe even to the extent of discouraging people from coming in to the district as non-residents. Other districts are a little bit lower and maybe are more open to that possibility. I think we in the past have kind of walked that line between being encouraging or discouraging, and recognizing that, as we think about students in the greater community, there might be a need or a situation that arises in which it might be helpful for a student to look to alternatives. And it seems to me at the rate that we're currently at now, or in the vicinity we are now, isn't overwhelming, but it's not low enough where it would probably be something that somebody would do haphazardly or without some thought behind it. So in my mind, we're kind of in that middle ground, and that's probably the only real comments I have on that. I don't know if anyone else has anything they would want to share.
Yeah.
Dr. Ziliak or Mr. Forbes, is it permitted to grandfather existing students at a rate? So again, to avoid the unfairness, but potentially for new students, again, maybe inch that up a little bit more, given some of the comparisons that we did see. I don't know if that is permitted.
That's a good question. My immediate reaction would be no,
Okay.
because you have to treat them all the
Equally,
same,
yeah.
but I would have to check to be sure.
And I understand there's concerns about, we saw some of our area school districts that had substantially higher tuition rates. And what we don't know from those numbers is how many students are actually paying tuition. I mean, they may put those so high to try and discourage tuition students. We don't know. Obviously, Chautauqua Lake is a little different in that they're tuitioning Ripley students, all of them, and that's a different mix of the fixed and variable costs that we can kind of get into an analysis of, but we really don't know how many students these districts are charging $7,000 per student. Now, I will also say, doing the quick math, if you multiply out what we would be charging for tuition for, is it pre-K? No, K through 6 and then 7 through 12 is the break?
K-5, 6, 12.
K-5, 6, 12. So if we look at that breakdown, we're charging over $35,000 for someone going all the way through our kindergarten through graduation. If we get much above that, anyone would be better off buying a house in the district. I don't disagree with you, but we can also get. I think we can price ourselves out, and for whatever reason, they're not able to buy a house in the district. But yes, I agree with you. I would rather that they, yes, I have a relative who was not in the district who decided to move in because of that. So, yes, I understand that.
I think that in the past, most of the board members here weren't privileged to the information that I saw, heard, and listened to. The board at the time was looking at comparing to a school similar size, which is Southwestern. We're very close in tuition rates there. But most important, we were offering opportunities by just filling voids in the classrooms and controlling that by closing tuition with our ability to say, we're putting a stop to accepting more kids because it's going to be creating a need for more staff. So that's basically what we're doing. We're filling empty seats, creating a revenue source, which we don't have very many options for that piece to create revenue. And it was opportunities for kids that sought possibly things that we offered that maybe weren't offered in their school district. So, I always saw it as a benefit to the children coming to our school, more so as to an opportunity. And we charged a rate that was somewhat fair. It wasn't creating extra staff. Much to some districts, they allow staff to bring their kids in free tuition. Our staff pays. So, this was an important piece. It was a very fine line to, understanding what was the best. And I know my thoughts went with the kids to make this available to them. And also, as a steward to the district, making sure it didn't create extra expense.
Correct.
And to the percentages, we felt that, it kept up with the tax rate. And this year, because we have a 0%, as we spoke before, it's not 0%, it's 2%, 2.05, only because we're using fund balance to not create a tax levy to the district. An additional cost.
I would agree with that. I would agree that it's fair just to go to 2.05%. This is a fair deal for everybody.
I'm comfortable with that too. I was just exploring
Yep.
our options, so I would support the 2.05.
Yeah. And I think that if we wanted to essentially double our tuition, we do jeopardize losing some of those tuition students, pricing ourselves out of the market. And Mr. Forbes, are we revenue generation of around 75,000 from tuition? So if we price ourselves out of this market, where somebody can't afford the $7,000 a year in tuition for the upper grades, then we start eating into our revenue, and it really doesn't reduce our expenses at all. So,
And Brian,
yeah,
Mr. Aldrich, I don't think anyone was suggesting that we go all the way to 7,000, but there's there was
Sure.
definitely wiggle room there. And I think it's worth discussion on an annual basis on where we are.
So, with that, all those in favor, well, I guess we need what was our motion?
You made a motion to bring it back for discussion, so I would make a motion to approve.
So we need a motion for the 2.05% increase. We did not have that on the table before. We just discussed it. Okay, so if I could get a motion to increase the tuition rates by the 2.05%. Now, in this it says case 6, Mr.
Yeah, it is case 6, I misspoke.
Okay.
Case 6, 7, 12.
Okay, so if I could have a motion to increase this by 2.05 for each of the two groupings here.
So
Mr. Johnston, and a second? Ms. Powell-Fortner. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Great. So we have okay. So we have the appointment of personnel to probationary positions, Matt Ferreira, has a certification in language arts 7 through 12. Can I have a motion to bring that to the floor, please?
So moved.
Mr. Forrester and Ms. Gullo seconded that. Any questions on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, then we have a second, approve the appointment of personnel to probationary positions for Brianne Davis, who has a mathematics, certification in mathematics grades 7 and 9. Can I have a motion to bring that to the floor, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Ms. Gullo. Any questions on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Okay, so then we have a letter of resignation from Holly Lamperi. Can I have a motion to accept her resignation letter?
So moved.
Ms. Powell-Fortner, and a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. And 34 years of service. Now, that's longer than you've been here, Mr. Zoll.
By about 33 and a half years. Exactly.
Wow, that's quite a career. Next, we have a resignation letter from Caravan, food service helper. Can I have a motion to bring that to the floor, please?
So,
Mr. Johnston. And a second?
Second.
Mr. Forrester. Any questions on that? And that's 3 years of feeding our students. That's wonderful.
Actually, in her situation, she was here before, retired once before, and then came back when there was a need.
Oh, really? So how many years was it before that?
That I can't tell you off the top of my head, but she was here for a number of years prior.
Yeah? Huh. Well, I hope we have somebody to feed our kids going forward. Great. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much. So, next we have a President's Report. We have a discussion of our 2021 board meeting schedule that I believe everyone has been given. A couple, I know that Mr. Ziliak and Ms. Slagle tried to put this together. We've tried to do the second and fourth Tuesday of every month. You can see that it doesn't always work out that way, but we've tried to accommodate certain things, and then rather than having 5 weeks between meetings, we did that first Tuesday instead of the second. So has everybody had a chance to review that? Now, we do have the reorganization meeting in 2 weeks, and I believe that Ms. Portman, you're looking to take on a bigger role here? So we can just nominate you with you not being here, so.
I was wondering where that was. So thanks for the heads up.
Okay, you never know what happens when you miss a meeting, especially the reorganization.
I am concerned
Yeah.
about that. I may have to zoom in.
Yeah, okay, well, just to let you know.
I'm going to have the same concern, I won't be able to make it, so.
President, Vice President. Wow. Flip a coin to see who gets what. Okay, so.
I have more than I have.
What are our options if we've got 2 members who will not be here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly open to whatever the board would like to do. I mean, we can function without 2 members here. However, that doesn't give us a lot of leeway if anything else were to come up spur of the moment. We can look for another date in early July. This was the date that by our policies indicates, but there is some wiggle room here to adjust and adapt. So I will leave it up to you. Other dates we might propose, there could be conflicts in different places. So I am...
So this reorganization meeting must take place by the 15th, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And does that...
The following Tuesday's the 13th, but I don't know, I'm back on the 13th. I don't know then if then others are out.
One conflict with the 13th is that I will not be in town, but certainly, we could accommodate for that, but it's kind of a big meeting for me to miss.
You have Mr. Forbes take your place for that meeting.
Good suggestion.
I'll be here.
Mr. Johnson, are you back on the 13th or not?
So, okay, so you're coming back. Are you going to be able to...
Oh, I'm back on the 9th.
You're back on the... Okay.
So is there a date, what is the date that you are leaving, Ms. Slater?
Sunday the 11th.
I'm back at 6:30 that evening.
On what evening?
The evening of the reorganization meeting.
The 13th?
No, the 6th.
The 6th. Okay.
6th, right?
Okay, so, yeah, you'd be back for a whole week, and what I don't want to do is I don't want you, flying back from Australia and then having to show up half hour after your plane lands.
They won't have us at this point, so
Yeah.
there's no worries of that.
Well, I use that as a for example,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah. I mean, my feeling is it probably wouldn't be wise to do the reorganization meeting of all meetings without the district clerk. I would personally feel uncomfortable with that. There's a lot of moving pieces, a lot to manage from an agenda point of view. And I would suggest we potentially, when we could do the meeting as early as
The first. We can't do it the 29th.
No, it has to be within the 1st of July and the 15th of July.
because Aaron Marshall will take over
Oh, okay.
as of July 1st.
I am in town on the 1st. I won't leave until the 2nd.
That's You're not.
You will not be in town? So you're leaving right after graduation?
on Monday. How many do you need for, we just need a quorum?
We only need 4, but it's, the concern is that it's a reorganization, and we would appreciate your input. So will either of you be able to Zoom? I mean, I
will not be able to Zoom actually on the 6th. I will be not
Okay.
getting Wi-Fi
Okay.
access.
Okay.
But
And if you're getting back,
Yes, I'm getting back to Buffalo at 5:30 on the 6th.
and it may be 8 o'clock for what anybody knows.
So, and you're back on the 9th? So, a Saturday morning, early Saturday morning? We're looking to have everybody, no?
That's in my mind, a board decision.
I won't be there.
Which kind of complicates things, Mr. Forrester, just so you know, okay?
The young lady that works in the office with you,
Laura?
Right.
can you bring her up to speed?
I mean, certainly,
I mean, it probably wouldn't be bad experience.
I'm just going to say, again, I would be uncomfortable with that. Think of the small input we've asked from Christine here tonight.
You're going to do it.
Correct. But,
You should know all that parts.
I'm just putting it out there for the group.
I don't know what flexibility, I was fine not being here, but then now if we take Steve out, Sheila's had one meeting, Aaron's brand new,
That's my
I
concern.
agree, it doesn't sound.
That's my concern. We've got 2 people who are essentially brand new. And this will be Courtney's first reorganization meeting. So now we've got 3 people who have never gone through this.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Isn't it all scripted?
We could, so let me just say, we could potentially do Thursday the 8th. That would at least have Steve back in town. Lisa would still miss, but at least all of us except Lisa would be able to be here.
Well.
Almost.
Except you work Thursday nights.
You got it.
Okay.
I may be able to work it out, but I wouldn't know that tonight.
Okay.
I definitely can give it a good, I probably can, but I wouldn't be able to commit right now.
Push the meeting back to 7.
Oh,
On the
that's
6th?
an option.
Unless I'm delayed, I should be.
Well, that's why I said, unless you get back at 8 o'clock, just through some delay. Freak snowstorm in July.
I'm just pointing it out that, I'm on time, I'll be here at 7.
I'm fine with that.
You're fine with?
I mean, I'm fine with a later meeting on Tuesday, then we don't have to wait and see what I can do for work on Thursday. Unless you want to wait.
What actions would we be taking other than reorganization? Because reorganization is the half-hour meeting and then a board meeting after that.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, the reorganization is typically scripted, but, tonight's meeting was scripted as well, but there's always these little things that come up.
Can you flip it?
In the meeting, put the reorganizational meeting at the end.
I don't think that's the most important.
I think we need to, reorganization,
That has to happen first because Mr. Marshall will need to be, everyone needs to be sworn in July 1, so, each board member, that has to happen first before we can continue. As you remember, we typically have the reorg and then we have a regular meeting as well. I don't anticipate a high amount of business for that regular meeting, but there will be certain things, there will be coach approvals, there will be, any last minute business that is wrapping up this week that I get, some things that came in this week that were too late to get on this agenda will be on the 6th, so there is quite a bit of action that needs to happen on that day as well.
We were throwing out the Zoom for possibly the 2 board members that were going to be here. Is there a possibility of Christine coming?
So, I think what Dr. Ziliak is speaking about in terms of the things I have to have ready, that's all physical things. So I don't know that me Zooming would have any effect one way or the other. I'm not typically participating too much in the meeting, it's the getting ready for the meeting. That's just my thought.
I have a text out to see if I can do a switch, can we skip this and wait 10 minutes and see?
Sure.
Is that okay? And then we'll see if Thursday night would work. The 8th?
Well, yeah, I'll be honest, against your better judgment, I'm inclined to recommend that we go to the 13th. And I understand that our district clerk is very important, and I also think that our board members are also, if there's anything that we can do there.
and no offense taken, I'm just
Yeah.
input, that's all. I certainly respect whatever the board would like to see happen.
Okay.
Can I ask one further question, only hearing what Christine just added at the end, but the preparation, what changes between now and then in the legal that couldn't be prepared?
I'm just looking at the calendar here, so if we had a meeting on the 13th, I would have everything to the board on the 9th. That doesn't change. Yeah, that doesn't change the prep ahead of time if I get everything out on the 9th. So certainly, it's possible.
When would you be leaving town, Ms. Luck?
The 11th. Sunday.
So you'd be available for an agenda meeting at least? Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Was the 7th out? Did I hear that? I heard Thursday's out the 9th.
Ms. Paul Fortner will not be in town.
Mr. Johnston is back.
Mr. Johnston will be.
You're not back on the 11th either.
No, I'm back
Oh.
on the 13th.
Right, not the 11th, not the 8th though. Right, so yeah, the 7th is,
And if it's important to Brad that Christine be here, then all you're missing is Lisa, which would be, you know.
That's okay, mister.
It just sounds like.
Excuse me, Madam President?
Except for that.
And we can place her in any policy, audit committee.
Yeah, and and certainly, Lisa, you know, I'm not looking at this as a
No, I,
person A versus person B.
I
I'm just looking at it
100%
as
agree.
the smooth running, and for anything that comes up in the moment. You know, Christine has had certain training that I have not been exposed to, and I think it's really specific to a district clerk. So,
I believe on the 7th, we have a mission vision meeting.
oh yeah. Okay. Good call. Which is at 6.
That's at 6, we could potentially change that.
Yeah, I mean, that can certainly be adjusted.
Last year's reorganization?
Do we have an intro,
Okay.
clerk?
Is it your, you're always on vacation now. I'm not complaining, I'm just, you know, good for you. Okay, so what do we have for recommendations other than the 13th?
The 7th? Oh, no.
The 8th, waiting on the 8th to see.
Waiting on the 8th.
I'll probably know in the next 30 minutes.
So I'll make a motion that we table to move to the end of the meeting.
Okay.
So
Well, while we're on this, I just, you know, I was looking at this, we were presented with this at the agenda meeting, but in looking at this, there's an April 5th, yeah, the April 5th, the next week is Easter vacation, spring break. And that's why it's the 1st, not the 2nd. And I'm looking at that. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was looking at December 7th. So that's 2 weeks after the November 23rd. But then it puts us 5 weeks till the January 11th.
So typically, we only have one meeting in December,
Correct.
and the January dates are to follow that 2nd and 4th.
Correct. But if we have the December meeting on the 14th rather than the 7th, it would put 3 weeks between the November 23rd, but then 4 weeks between the 14th and the 11th.
Yeah, we could adjust there. I don't think there was any reason, Ms. Legel, that the 7th or the 14th.
No, I don't remember any
I think we
conflict
just
there.
kept it consistent with what the closest date to this year,
Correct,
right?
Okay.
so that can be adjusted.
To the 14th. And then that just prevents this large gap of time. The couple other oddities, but one is Monday, April 25th. So that's a Monday meeting, but it's because the spring Easter break, and then we have a requirement for our budget vote. It has to be done by the 25th, and the 26th is too late.
Correct.
So that's why it couldn't be on a Tuesday. And since we have 2 members who are not with us today, who this would be important to, we're still working on it. Okay, so those are the issues. Let's delay this to later on, slightly later on. I guess this would be our last chance. I mean, we can't delay it till next meeting because that is the next meeting. So along with the President's report, there's a couple things that I did want to to mention that I did not, I should have at the last meeting, but a couple weeks ago, a couple meetings ago, we gave authority to sign a bond for the capital project. And a couple weeks ago, I had signed all that documentation. Like any loan closing, what did we do? Sign about 20 times? And
Probably more than that.
that's really not an exaggeration either. But I will say to the board, to the district, I think that we got a banger of a rate. And I know I wrote it down, but I could not find that piece of paper. But it was below 2%, was it
Yeah,
not?
we did once, I don't remember exactly either, but that's my fault, I'll put something out for the board, just to let you know, I should have done that.
Yeah.
But, the financial advisor said we were in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, so if you think about it, I mean, we have the cost of the capital project, but we really, at 1.5%, there's really no interest cost. So if we're going to do something, that was the time to do it. And since we signed that, rates have gone up and they continue to go up, and I expect them to go up even farther. But I think that we did very, very well in getting that rate. One of the things that I was provided is S&P Global does a bond rating, and they had reviewed our financial statements and reviewed the bond that we were proposing to do, and they moved us from an single A to a double A rating on the review. So that didn't hurt either, you know. So we're not triple A, we're not quite rated as a federal treasury, but we're getting closer, John. But I will say thank you for keeping the finances where they need to be, and you know, to get us that better rate and get the higher rating. And I understand that there's a lot of moving parts to that rating. One is you know, keeping our expenditures under control, keeping our revenue, but also part of it is you know, this is a two-edged sword. It's how much reserves we have. The more reserves, the better our rating is, but we're also looking to keep our reserves low too. So it's a very complex issue, but thank you for keeping track of all that, Mr. Forbes. Last on my present, we do have board correspondence later, but it's kind of a meeting where we step back, and it's the end of the school year, but this is also, Mr. Forrester, this will be your last board meeting. I don't think that you're not able to come to graduation this year, correct?
I'll try to make it.
You'll try to make it. Yeah, you have an important individual coming up, yes. But Mr. Forrester, when I first met you, I was very impressed, and I was impressed with your knowledge, your concern for the district, and you haven't let me down in the past 5 years. You've kept our students first on your list. You've provided great understanding of the district. You've got a passion for our students. Thank you for your work for this district. I have appreciated working with you for the past 5 years, and I will miss you.
Thank you very much. It's the same, absolutely. It's been a great pleasure being with you guys. you think 5 years is a long time when you start out, but then now, hey, 5 years is all done,
flew by.
Yeah. I was just thinking about, when my kids were little, and I would drive by the school, they're over at Wheelock, and I look at the school and I think, man, that's a big school. I wonder how my kids are gonna do, deal with that, being in such a big environment, big school, and, are they gonna succeed, are they gonna be okay, and now you look at it, from hindsight, looking back on it, and you think, wow, they were more than okay.
Yeah, they were.
And the reason why they were more than okay is because of the school, it was because of the teachers, because of the opportunities that they were given. And so, very proud, to have my kids be hillbillies. Even though I might not be one myself, but very proud, and it's a great district. Again, the biggest thing for me is the opportunities that are given here for every student who wants to be involved. They can find something to be involved with, and that to me is just phenomenal. It's been a great pleasure, and I will miss you guys. I really will miss you all. So thank you very much.
Yes. Do we have anything yet? We don't.
We don't, no.
Okay. So we're going to keep moving on here, and we have the superintendent's report.
Yes,
Mr. Rosillia.
Just a couple things, real quick. First of all, Mr. Forrester, thank you. I feel like the board has been very supportive in my transition to the district, and you've been a part of that. So thank you very much. Much appreciated. Good luck and enjoy the ceremony this weekend. We sent out a survey recently to gather feedback from any of our stakeholders around additional funding that is coming to all school districts in New York State. And sort of the litmus test for this funding is if things can be used is really this question: is the use of the funds intended to prevent, prepare for, or respond to the COVID pandemic, including its impact on social, emotional, mental health, and academic needs of the students? So we put out a few questions to our stakeholders. Thank you so much for the, I'd say, almost overwhelming response we've received so far. We appreciate that feedback. The survey is open till Friday, till the end of the day on Friday, so feel free, if you have not, to have your voice heard, and we are formulating a plan as we speak, but that community input is important to us. Second thing, as mentioned a few moments ago, we are starting to dig into the mission, vision, core beliefs work. That starts tomorrow night. First with a meeting just amongst our faculty and staff to make sure that we are on the same page internally with how we are moving forward. And then we have a large group gathering tomorrow night at 6 p.m., both either in the auditorium if people would like to come into the building, or by Zoom. And really the purpose of that is, again, to gather feedback around those three areas. Our mission, what do we see as our purpose? Why do we exist? Our vision, what do we aspire to be? And our core beliefs, what are the super set of principles that will guide our decision-making as well as our behavior as a district. So we're going to be asking our stakeholders what are the words, phrases, key terms that come to mind in all three of those areas. Again, we're going to really open it up to a lot of different viewpoints and perspectives, and then we have a smaller group distilling that information down to smaller, more manageable statements, which we will then put out for feedback 2 more times. And the hope is that we have clear, concise mission, vision, and core belief statements to open the school district in September. So I encourage everybody tomorrow night, if you can't be here in person, no problem, join us by Zoom. And just so you know, by Zoom, we're going to be asking people to put information into the chat, which is then collected through Zoom, and we'll have all of that information in a clean spreadsheet. And the in-person will be a little more verbal for those people in the room. So those are 2 key parts of our process moving forward here. Other than that, that's it. Any questions, comments?
Okay. We don't have any public left, so we're going to close that out. Board correspondence, we have, okay, so the annual organization meeting may be sometime in the next couple of weeks. But it will be well, we don't know if it'll be 6 o'clock here in the library, but there will probably be a meeting, regular meeting immediately following after, right? We'll see on that. Okay, so we did receive a letter from Miss Christine Schnars regarding a nomination to the New York State School Board Association Area 3 Director position. This is a renewal of a 2-year position. I know she was, it was 4 years ago that I believe she started. I don't know. We did receive a letter that's in our backup, so you can review that. Then we have our commencement on the 27th. I'm assuming everyone will be available for that? Okay, and everybody has responded to Mr. Paskey? Okay, great. With that, I'm going to, I think we're going to go into executive session and we're going to figure out the meeting time.
Unless you want to do your lap.
We can do
Before
that.
we go into executive session,
Yeah.
and just see.
Yeah.
And it,
Thank you.
You know.
I forgot about that one.
You know, and I don't mean to, you know, be in disagreement. So I think if by the end of the meeting, we're not sure, I say we default to the 13th. Ms. Legel can have the information in by the 9th, and we'll go with it. So,
Okay.
you know, we're a pretty flexible group, and I think we can be in a good place with that.
Mr. Hawk.
So I just want to say thank you, Mr. Forrester, for your 5 years, and I think that I really enjoyed your input and working with you on a few of the committees, you know, audit and policy, audit and facilities, and you've had some real interesting and good, input into that. I feel that you're more than just a board member, you're a friend. I mean, you're somebody that was be able to stop and talk to after this, and it's been wonderful. Yeah, appreciate it.
Mr. Forrester.
Oh, I'm good.
You're now you need the tissues, do you? If you want to say anything?
No.
Well, bring them on Sunday, because
Definitely.
yeah, I know that too well. Ms. California.
I want to congratulate our retirees, our new tenured teachers. I think, just the future of the district looks really bright, and I appreciate all the administrators, what you brought to the table and how you coached and encouraged the faculty so that we could be in that position. Mr. Forrester, definitely very much will be missed. Definitely always appreciated your input, your insight. So thank you, and lucky to have your Tuesdays back. And then I do want to thank all the administrators and teachers for the rolling, open positivity that we have seen throughout the year, to the point where it almost feels normal, I think. And there's a lot of really great momentum that we have as we're closing out this year, a tough year for everyone. So thank you. It really is appreciated, all the extra hard work. So thank you very much.
Very much so, yes.
Well, Lisa really did a good job with that. I agree with everything she said. Thank you to everybody for a really difficult year and keeping it moving forward the whole time. And spread the thanks to everyone that helped make that happen. I want to mention I got a text that the varsity girls softball won their playoff game, so that's exciting. And it's been a pleasure. I feel like I've learned a lot from you. I really learned a lot from your perspective, so I will miss working with you.
Very much.
Mr. Johnson?
Sure enough, Brian, I go last. Last time I went first, now I go last, but, so I'm gonna repeat a lot, but yeah, I thank you administrators for the year. What a historic year this has been. And, you know, your resilience impressed all of us. Also, thank you for the thorough synopsis of all the teachers tonight, the retired teachers, the tenure track teachers. It's really gratifying to hear such great things and great words spoken by you, and it was a really nice tribute. Finally, Heath, you know, it's been a pleasure getting to know you. It's thanks for your service to the school, and also I have no idea how you do everything that you do. I mean, your teaching, your role at Westfield, this, your kids, it's pretty impressive, but we'll miss you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Paskey, anything going on in the high school this coming week?
Nope.
Nothing? No?
Yes. Friday we have our clap out for our seniors, the clap out parade. Lineup is at 9:30 out by the tennis courts, which extends out to the back entrance. At 9:30 we'll be rolling through with staff members, board members, whoever would like to join us. Just a reminder to the board members that if you are going to attend, we kind of have sections of where people will stand. So if you're coming, you'll be right out here, right by the front entrance over here. So that's the board member and administrator section. The train, if you will, is going to go through all of the bus loops. And then Mrs. Piper asked if we could also take a drive by Wheelock. Last year we were kind of closed at this time. We'd already finished school, so the Wheelock teachers came down here, but they still have classes. So we are going to take the train up to Wheelock, go through their bus loop as well, and then all of our students will be heading to the fairgrounds for our graduation rehearsal.
So the fact that the teachers at Wheelock aren't coming down, is that part of the reason why our numbers are so much lower this year than last?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big chunk of people.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Okay.
We have kids, sorry.
No, well, you know, it was great to have them last year and showed the support, but I'm glad that it's going to continue up the road. So,
and what's nice is that the students will be available to be out to cheer this year, which last year it was only the adults. So it'll be nice to have some of our younger kids be able to see the seniors go by, and if they're wearing their caps and gowns, just kind of honor what they will become one day.
Yeah.
It's a good day, and that's something that the parents last year said that we would rather do this than have them walk through the school. So maybe this is one of those things that we'll keep. You know, we talked about COVID making changes, and some of them very positive. And then obviously graduation will be on Sunday. We're looking for fair weather, hopefully. Every day I see the percentage chance of rain going down for Sunday, so that's a positive. So if we are rain-free, we're actually, instead of having the cars parking in front of the stage like we did last year, we're going to have the cars go past the stage, park out in the grass, and the people can come back and set up their own chairs and just sit behind the students, and it'll be much more visible if people can do that. Obviously, the outdoor mask situation, they're optional. If you feel that you want to wear a mask, you can do that. If you don't want to wear a mask, that is okay as well. And we're going to have a very close to completely normal ceremony, more so than last year. We'll be having some more people up on stage doing some of the awards and some other presentations. So it's exciting to have another step towards normalcy. And hopefully next year we can be back at King Concert Hall and enjoy the presence of the college and just that grandiose environment. But I have to say, I've enjoyed every moment that we've had with our kids, even though it's not normal. The excitement of seeing people together and family and community is so invigorating. When we feel some days you just can't do anymore. Like, man, we're so tired. And then those positives come, and it's like, yes, I'm full of energy again. It's awesome. So it's just great. It's an honor, and we love it. To look forward to Sunday, wrapping up this year, and putting a big bow on it, and starting next year fresh. So thank you all, and I look forward to seeing you all at graduation. Arrival for the board, 1 o'clock at the latest, please, if you can be there by then. I just want to make sure we have our chairs set up well and that everybody's going to have a place to sit exactly where we want you to be.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Great,
Thank you all. Oh, Mr. Forster, thank you very much for your service to the board, the service to the school. You did a pretty good job with your kids. Very well done. Your kids have been great at school, and just thank you for everything that you've done, and we will miss you on the board, and hopefully you will come and be one of those people in the audience that has something wise to say.
Yeah, maybe I can be that person.
But thank you.
We'll talk.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Ms. Trubman.
We are winding down. We've done some field trips, and we made it through our 8th grade celebration and picnic, so that the 8th graders really enjoyed that. Michelle is in charge of our talent show, so the kids have been practicing and preparing for that. We have a finale that's going to be pretty spectacular. We recorded that today with some of our faculty and staff, so we're pretty excited to do that on Thursday. So it's been a good end to the school year for sure. And congratulations on, finding new things to fill your Tuesdays with, and thanks for all the support that you've given us over the years.
Thank you all.
Mr. Drellinger.
Hey, just 2 quick announcements. Today we welcomed our fully remote students back into the building for like a end of the year field day, and it was nice. So the kids were, walking through the building, some of them for the first time who have been new first graders. So that was a good experience for those kiddos. We put them on the playground and the weather held out, so it was good. And then we too have a clap out for our 4th graders on Friday at 11 o'clock. But families are invited and our students will be outside to say goodbye to those kids. And thank you, Mr. Forster, for your support and things like that as well.
Ms. Piper, you're hiding on me.
I don't know where to sit, 'cause I can't see me. The same at Wheelock, we're winding down. We had our last full day of school today, and we're excited. Friday, the Rotary has donated a free little library that we're putting in on Friday by the playground on Chestnut Street, so we're excited about that. And I'm excited to have the seniors come by Friday morning as well. Looking forward to it, and good luck to you, Keith. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Farrow.
Well, I don't have any big news or any little newsy tidbits today, but I will also say thank you to Heath. I feel like professionally we have walked sort of a similar walk, and I always appreciate your insight and your questions. So sad to see you go, but good. And really, it's just a matter of winding the year down. I mean, it goes without saying this has been a long, strange trip. There's no words for what we have done. We've learned how to run a school without students, a year ago, and kind of progressed from there. And it's been profoundly difficult at times and profoundly sad, but there's been victories along the way. And I don't know, I personally feel like I've worn my emotions on my sleeve. And I apologize for that, but it's good. I'm glad that the finish line is there. So.
Yeah, very well said. Okay, Ms. Wright, what have you got for us?
Not much, nothing
No?
going on. It's been a great, 3 weeks, and we've been working a lot as, in a team. It's just so wonderful to be part of a team, so I just thank everybody here who has just helped me with so many things, especially like Mrs. Troutman when I get lost in the middle school. This one, so I was like, where am I? She's wandering, she's like, hey, Margie. But we've worked together on a number of different things with curriculum and HR and getting things like our instructional leader set, new hirings and the interview process, and that's been exciting to do all of that, good work. And to elementary teacher invited me out to one of their little medal ceremonies at the Olympics, so making those connections, making those relationships with the different areas in the building, and so that's been wonderful to do as well. So yeah, it's just wrapping up and then seeing how we can take that to begin our summer work to continue the trajectory for next school year. So that's been exciting. And thank you, Mr. Forster, for your service and for agreeing to hire me and bring me onto the Fredonia team.
So Fredonia is home.
Fredonia's home, yes.
Great, good to hear.
Thank you.
Very good to hear.
I just wanted to add, I don't know if it was in February or March when we sat and talked about the importance of whoever was going to be in the role of chief officer being here in June. And I think that has paid off very nicely, and Margie has done a great job getting out and about and really meeting and greeting and being part of what's going on, and has dug in areas where she was needed and has provided a lot of input. But I think it just puts her and her position in a totally different light internally for people who've got a chance to know her, as opposed to her starting on July 1, when there would be no one here, and we'd kind of be in this process in September. So I think that was a great decision on behalf of the Board of Education, and has really put us in a great position to move forward, starting with our work over the summer. And in my mind, by September, Margie is just part of the crew at that point, and no longer has that new person kind of aura that takes a while for it to wear off. So I appreciate everything you've done, Margie, and thanks for being a team player right out of the gate.
Thank you. It's been, believe me, my absolute pleasure.
Yeah, she'll have her hand on a lot of fires. Already has, and will continue on through September. That's great. Mr. Forbes.
Unlike the rest of the administrators, we're actually gearing up at this time of year. We have the year-end closeout and getting ready for the audit on the 4th of July. And this year is especially challenging because our first payroll will be July 1st. So there's a lot of things that have to occur to make that happen correctly.
Oh, okay.
Interesting times for us. And Mr. Forster, thank you for your service to the district. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. Ms. Slagle.
I have to also thank Keith, every time you speak, it's an intelligent question. I appreciate, well, maybe not every time, most times. But, you always bring up an interesting perspective, and I think it's always very interesting when you have a board member who works in another district and they have something to bring to the table that is a direct comparison, and, I really appreciate that perspective, and I appreciate everything you've done for me and the relationship we've been able to build. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great. Nothing.
Expo?
Okay.
Oh, nothing for this, no.
Okay. Well, we're not going to order out for dinner and waiting for that, so we're just going to go to executive session, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So, we're looking to go into executive session for personnel, for issues pertaining to particular personnel. If I could have a motion to enter into executive session. And Mr. Forrester, oh no, this won't. We do have something available for you at the very end. For your thumbprint. But Mr. Johnson seconded. All in favor of entering into executive session, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are now in executive session, 7:48. Thank you, everyone.
We want to take a
Yes.